Okay, so I'm going to call our meeting to order. It's 1:34. Welcome everybody. And let's go around and do a quick set of introductions. So I'm Liz Sheehan, council member and chair of this committee and member of the HPI board. And we'll go this way.
Marty Jones from the Action Council.
I'm Caitlin Dixon, one of the housing advocates for the city.
I'm Sherry Russell, the other housing advocate for the city.
I'm Mackenzie Cooksey. I'm the Assistant Director of Housing and Grants for Mountain Calm. I'm Jackie Long. I'm the Director of Housing and Grants for Mountain Calm.
David Shadd with the host.
Christina Ellison with New Beginnings Bluegrass.
Shannon Derrick with Passport by Molina.
Bruce Davis, HPI board.
Marissa Webb, I'm the Continuum of Care Coordinator. I am going to ask that everybody speak loudly and clearly because we are out of microphone, so please project your voice. Thank you.
Example to my right. I'm Chris Primo. I'm the housing coordinator at Arbor Youth Services.
My name's Eric Evans. I'm the housing advocate for Independence Place.
And I'm Jeff Herron, manager of LFECG's Office of Homelessness Prevention and Intervention.
Hi, I'm Joy Andrade, and I'm on the HPI board.
I'm Diane Fleet, Greenhouse 17, HPI board.
Great. Thank you, everyone. So the first thing on our agenda for today is the approval of the October meeting minutes. Are there any changes or suggestions that anybody would like to make? Okay, seeing none, I'll take a motion to approve the minutes. It can come from anyone in the full membership.
A motion to approve.
Thank you, Joy. And I need a second.
I'll second.
Thank you, Bruce. And all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay. Okay, that passes. We have two program reviews on our list today. One is Arbor Youth Services for their Rapid Rehousing for Youth program. And then we have two programs for Mountain Comprehensive Care Center. So I will start with you, Chris, for your program.
Okay. Is this your pen?
No.
Okay, cool. All right. You want this? Okay. I am talking about Arbor Youth Services Rapid Rehousing Program. General information about our program is we provide emergency shelter for homeless youth birth through 24 years of age. We're going to be talking about the 18 to 24-year-old program today. We provide access to meals, clothing, basic needs, access to applying for benefits, SNAP, insurance, etc. Enter clients into coordinated entry, provide basic case management services, including assistance with housing and employment. We provide referrals to mental health, substance use programming, and job training. Okay, so the number of persons served was 18. I'm not sure actually what the target was.
10 households.
10 households, got it. 10 households, and we served 18. Number of households is the same. Our demographics is Hispanic 3, white 9, black 8, multiple race 1. Our outcome measurements are length of time, person remained homeless, 60 days was the target. We had one homeless for 96 days. Returning to homelessness was target 95%. Our outcome was 99%. Employment and income growth, let's see, minimum of 30% of participants with new/increased earned income for project stayers. Our goal was 30%, what we reached was 21.4%. Minimum of 50% of participants with new/increased non-employment income for project stayers is 60%, and our outcome was 60%. Oh no, I'm sorry, our target was 50%, our outcome was 60%. Minimum of 15% of participants with new/increased earned income for project leavers. The goal was 15%, our outcome was 15%. Minimum of 30% of participants with new/increased non-employment income for project leavers. The target was 24%, our outcome was 42%. Successful permanent housing placement. At least 90% of households should exit to permanent housing. We had 99% of households exit to permanent housing. Coordinated entry participation is 100%, target and completion. Timely expenditure of funding. Agency must submit a draw request within the first 90 days of grant, and then every 90 days thereafter while funded, and that was a yes. All funds should be completely expended at the end of the grant contract, and is yes. Housing stability, 70% of clients will be permanently housed, maintaining housing for at least a year. Our outcome was 99%, our goal was 70%. Employment stability, 70% of clients employed in permanent stable employment for as many hours per week as desired, with income sufficient to meet basic needs. The target was 70%, our outcome was 60%. Self-sufficient and ADLs, 90% of clients will do a budget once a month while they are enrolled in the program. 100% of our clients do budgets. 75% of clients will have increased access to purchase and prepare their food of choice, and 100% of our clients have access to that. 100% of clients will complete a safety plan, and 100% have completed safety plans. 75% of clients will have insurance either through Medicaid, employer, or other source, and our goal is 75%, and our outcome is 90%. 100% of clients will know how and when to access emergency services. 100% of our clients do. Education, 60% of clients will pursue continuing education or job training, and 40% was the outcome. Ongoing evaluation and improvement. Ongoing evaluation and improvement of rapid rehousing program at Arbor Youth Services in Lexington, Kentucky involves several key steps. Review the existing rapid rehousing program to understand its strengths, weaknesses, and areas for improvement. Analyze data related to housing placement, retention rates, client demographics, and success metrics monthly. We gather feedback from program participants to understand their experiences, challenges faced, and suggestions for improvement. We conduct surveys or interviews to obtain qualitative insights. Continuously collect and analyze data on housing outcomes, financial stability, employment, and other relevant metrics. This data-driven approach helps identify trends in areas that need attention. Based on data analysis and feedback, we iterate, I can't talk anymore, adjustments to program. This might involve revising eligibility criteria, improving support services, enhancing training for staff, or adjusting resource allocation. We have established a system for ongoing monitoring of program performance against predefined goals, generate regular reports to track progress. We have invested in continuous training and development for staff members involved in rapid rehousing program. This ensures they are equipped with updated skills and knowledge to effectively support program participants. We are strengthening relationships within the community to expand resources, partnerships, and support networks available for program participants. And I think I'm done. Yay. I kind of want to say amen when I'm done for some reason, like I just said a very long prayer.
Hallelujah.
All right. I'll open it up to everyone for questions.
So I have just a couple quick questions.
Okay. Yes.
On demographics,
Okay.
individually they total 21, but 18 clients were served.
Oh, that's because Hispanic is not totaled in,
Okay.
because it's a different demographic.
It was a separate field in our system. It was ethnicity instead of
Yes.
race, and now it is combined in a way that we can choose multiple
Right.
options, but it makes
But when I ran the report, it's
analysis
still
a little bit
yeah.
harder sometimes.
Yes.
Okay.
So I have a quick question for you. Does your organization, I didn't hear anything on what you were reading about medical or helping with any kind of medical for your
Yeah, get them
population?
services, like
Yeah,
benefits?
medical services.
Oh, yeah, for
Well,
sure.
medical services, or if they're needing something maybe outside your purview.
We refer them to, like lots of, right now, for You mean like for like mental health or for?
No, actually, so for example, I have a
Physical?
client or a potential client who's 24 and has a rare form of epilepsy
Okay.
that needs a little more supervision than maybe a lot of other clients
Yeah.
would. Is there any
We
referrals?
have
or-
had clients with epilepsy, as long as they're medicated and it's not a at-risk situation, that we actually had a client that we ended up getting help at, he's in the Bob Brown House now.
Okay.
Because we couldn't supervise him enough. He had to go to the emergency room multiple times for seizures, busted his 2 front teeth out, like it was just a lot. But we do refer out.
Okay, all right.
Also on data, returns to homelessness and housing stability have a 99% outcome. I think that would be like 17.82.
Yes.
So just checking to see.
No, it's not. I think I might have did that wrong. Let's see, permanent housing, at least 90% of should exit to permanent stable housing. Wait, which one are you looking at?
So returns to homelessness.
Oh, here it
second
is.
From the top under performance measures.
Okay.
And then also the housing stability measure.
Let's see, at least 90% of houses exit to permanent housing should not have another homelessness occurrence within the following 12 months, 99%. It's actually,
Because it would be out of the number that.
Yes.
So do you know what that number was?
I don't know off the top of my head. We only had one person, if that answers your question,
Okay.
that did not continue, did not go into permanent housing. So I was probably thinking about it opposite. I was saying like all but one. Sorry.
All right, thank you.
That's a really high percentage to move into permanent supportive housing. Are they moving into housing on their own through a housing choice voucher or another permanent supportive housing project?
These are not permanent supportive numbers. These are rapid rehousing numbers.
But the exit.
Oh, exit to permanent housing. No, they're paying rent on their own.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Anyone else? Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I'm gonna come, I realize that on our agenda, I skipped our calendar approval for next year, so I'm gonna come back to that at the end. Our next presentation is Mountain Comprehensive Care Center, and we'll start with the Bluegrass Region Permanent Supportive Housing Program.
And Mackenzie's going to pass out, I just did a little one-pager on both of our programs, just for a handout. And I'm going to do permanent supportive housing, and then Mackenzie's going to do rapid rehousing.
Thanks.
So this program provides rental assistance to individuals or families who are experiencing chronic homelessness or qualify as dedicated plus. Therefore, they are required to have a verified disability. We provide in-home services through case managers as well as support staff, such as community support associates and peer support associates. The housing stability plans are created for each participant, and housing staff provides referrals and assistance in meeting the goals of the plan. Additionally, housing staff provides life skills training and assistance to help participants achieve housing stability. Case managers utilize the full SPDAT to create a baseline assessment and administer it again at annual assessment to evaluate progress towards stability. I don't have statistics on that yet because we just started implementing that requirement in our program, so that'll be a question. In addition to in-home services designed to assist the participants in obtaining and maintaining housing stability, an array of behavioral health services are available through Mountains clinics should they decide to participate. The services offered include psychiatry, licensed therapy, which is also available in-home or by telehealth, counseling, which is also available in-home, therapeutic rehabilitation program, outpatient substance abuse treatment, and residential substance abuse treatment. Mountains housing staff is trained in SOAR and can provide assistance to any client who needs to access SSI, SSDI benefits. Additionally, we make referrals to Goodwill, Jubilee Jobs, Opportunities for Work and Learning, and local Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act programs to assist participants with increasing employment. Our program is funded to provide assistance to 18 units, which is 16 one-bedroom, 1 two-bedroom, and 1 three-bedroom. That's the breakdown. So our numbers of persons served, our target was 21, and we actually served 30. The number of households served is 18, and the actual is 21. Our demographics, we've served 25 white, 3 Black or African American, and 1 American Indian, Alaskan Native, or Indigenous, and 1 multiple race. Ethnicity is 29 non-Latino and 1 Hispanic or Latino, and our gender breakdown is 18 male and 12 female. Our outcome measures, the length of stay in homelessness, our target is 60 and our outcome is 286. That is an issue with a reporting someone's housing. Someone who was the second person in a household did not get their housing date entered. I fixed it and ran a new report, and it still didn't work. It didn't change it. But I think that was the issue. There's one household we've been having data quality issues with trying to get it straightened out.
Have you sent us a client ID number?
No, but I will.
Okay, do that, and system logic, it should be reading that measure off of the head of households housing move-in date.
Okay, this is
So that's
also
another thing that we need to investigate, because it should be
Yeah.
pulling from that primary household number.
Because this is also a household, like they were housed together, and then someone left the household.
I think I know who.
You know who it is. It's all messed up. So we'll get that fixed. And there may have been one more household that took a long time to have.
Because if we can't resolve it, then we'll want to submit a ticket with WellSky.
Okay, yeah, so we'll get with you all and try to fix that measure. It shouldn't be 286 days, not as an average. So, exits to permanent housing, the target's 90% and our outcome is 87%. I think part of that is differences in whether we could serve somebody or not, and they were entered and then ended up being exited. Returns to homelessness, target less than 5, our outcome is 3. New or increased income and earned income, our target was 30 and our outcome was 31%. For severe high needs, with no income at entry, the target's 50%, our outcome was 63%. Serving severe high needs, the entering from place not meant for habitation, human habitation, the target is 50 and the outcome was 63%. And also severe high needs, having more than one disability, the target's 70%, our outcome 63%, but I think that's wrong. So we need to go back through and look. I feel like a lot of these people have more than one disability that just hasn't gotten entered in HMIS. So we'll take a look at that. And then of course, coordinated entry participation is 100%. Ongoing evaluation and improvement. Of course, we've already talked about that there was an HMIS error in we're going to work to get that corrected. Not counting that household, we had 5 households who were housed in 7 days or less. We had 3 in 61 to 180 and 2 in 181 to 365. 5 households have not moved in during that period. 3 exited, 2 were had identified housing after the program year ended, so they're housed now, if that even made any sense. So what we're seeing on that measurement too is that at the beginning of that grant year, it was taking longer to house people, but I feel like there's been a shift. And it's been, I don't know if it's because of our efforts to find housing or what, but it's been a little bit easier in the last half. Our exits we had 4 exits. 1 was to treatment, 2 were to jail, and 1 went back to homelessness. Time remaining homeless has been an issue with the program. The contributing factors include the disability status of individuals as well as their backgrounds. The majority of referrals to our program have background issues that create a barrier to housing, causing them to remain homeless for an extended period after entry. We're also having several clients who get evicted or the landlord declines to renew their lease, which puts us in a position of rehousing them and creates an exit and re-entry. In an effort to decrease the time homeless, we've dedicated a staff member to making calls to landlords and meeting landlords to develop a database of those who are willing to accept a voucher or work with our program. We feel like making a personal connection with landlords is a strategy that will be successful if the landlord knows and trusts us, which we have a couple of those already, that it'll be better for our clients. We've been able to cultivate a few new landlords in the couple of months we've been working on this, and we're also making an effort to identify landlords all over the city to give clients more of a choice of a place to live. Additionally, our management team is working directly with case managers and staff to assist with the problem solving and creating person-centered solutions for our clients to better prepare them for maintaining their stability and working toward moving on strategy. The moving on strategy, I think, is where we are failing, and that's something that in the next year we're going to work on. And we're also continuing to work on equity factors, both as an agency and in housing. And I'm actually meeting monthly with the quality improvement director of our agency so that we can amend and develop policies that ensure equity.
I'll open it up for questions or comments.
I was just going to inquire, I know you mentioned the contributing factors of criminal background, but also disability status. Would that be something like requiring a ground floor unit, not being able to locate one timely, or what kinds of role does disability status play in that?
I think their mental health, I mean, some of them are so acute on their mental health that they, sometimes they aren't flexible. They have in their mind exactly where they want to be.
Like Mark.
Exactly. And they just they can't, or we have a couple of them that you've also met, that just are so rigid, and it's not them being difficult, it's their untreated mental illness that is causing the issue. So it's just a matter of being patient and working with them, but it does affect our outcome numbers.
Just want to know, one, so that if there's things that we can identify as common challenges that we can work collectively to try to develop strategies, but also making sure that there's no element of anything that we need to be looking at from a legal angle where, you know, there's any inability of a landlord to accommodate reasonably or anything.
I haven't really had that issue. I just have, I think that cultivating more landlords and having places in different parts of town helps them not only in their mind help, you know, get where they want to be and have more choice of where they live, but also does get them, a lot of times the reason that they cite that they don't want to live there is because of the drug activity in the neighborhood or whatever. So trying to find other places in town is something that we're really trying to find.
So on that note, I'll just go ahead and remind everyone that we had talked about doing an RFP with our Innovative and Sustainable Solutions funding towards a landlord recruitment project. And we kind of placed all of our current RFPs that were in draft on pause because of winter and needing to see where we were at with our needs. And sure enough, we did use a significant amount of our funding for winter, thanks largely due to Liz. We are getting additional money next fiscal year, but the council also approved some extra funds for this current fiscal year. So we're gonna have additional funds going into January. I plan to talk at next week's advocacy committee meeting about how we want to prioritize use of that money, but definitely that was one that was identified before that we're gonna definitely carry through with. So probably in January, we'll be releasing that RFP. I just have to go back in and make sure nothing needs to be updated. But that would definitely be something I want organizations that are present that would have an interest in potentially applying to keep their eyes and ears out for, because that is something that it's not just your program. We all are struggling in that area. So having some more centralized and dedicated support in that area, I think would be really helpful.
Yeah, Kitty has been, of course, Kitty came in with fresh eyes, which I think helps. But she's been she's perused Facebook groups and has kind of infiltrated. She's found people that she knew that were landlords and members of the group, and she's been able to infiltrate and is trying to make connections. And I think that's going to help us as much as anything, is just having personal connections with landlords that that trust us, that we're going to be there to help the client. And hopefully that's going to work. But I've made that our mission this year, is to get some new landlords. We've actually had some new ones come online, which has been really helpful.
Further questions or comments for this program? Could you talk a little bit about, you said your staff are SOAR trained, and you have a high percentage, well, you have 63% of people that fall into this severe high needs, no income at entry category. So could you talk a little bit about how you work with folks on that? That's my question.
So for the ones that don't have income, that don't already have their disability income, we are trying to work with them on SOAR. I think that we have been successful in getting a couple of applications approved now, or we have a couple in the hoppers. Yeah. So that's a big thing. But we're also, even before we apply for SOAR, we're trying to get the community integration supplement. Still kind of battling with the food stamps office in Lexington. We have more look in other counties, because that's a county by county kind of thing. So we're working to get that, because the community integration supplement will pay $1,300 a month, and then when they get their Social Security, then it'll pay the difference in their Social Security and the $1,300. So they'll still get it. So that's specifically so that they can maintain housing. That's the purpose of it. Okay. So that's one of the really important things. And then we've had some people go through the Goodwill program for jobs. We try to encourage people to do the Jubilee Jobs program. There's a program at Bluegrass Ad called Transitions to Transformation. I think it's a WIO funded program. We've had a couple of people in between the two programs try to go through that one too. So we try to encourage them to get a job, but I will say a lot of times the answer is, oh, I'm going to get my disability and I can't work, which is not true. And we try to educate them on that, but it doesn't always, it falls on deaf ears, because there are some attorneys out there that tell people that they can't work. And so that it's not true, they can't. But yeah, so we try everything we can to try to help them get immediate income and then work through the CIS and then work with them on SOAR and getting a job, because they can also get disability and get a job. So, and especially like the Goodwill program and then Jubilee Jobs, they can find things that work for people who have disabilities too. So,
thank you. Any other questions or comments? Thank you. And Mackenzie, our other program is the rapid rehousing program.
Yes.
So some of this info for like general information will be pretty similar to our PSH, but also there's some differences, but just if you hear me say some stuff you've already heard. So this program provides rental assistance to individuals or families who are experiencing homelessness and score for rapid rehousing on the VIASPA. MCCC provides in-home services through case managers as well as support staff such as community support associates and peer support specialists. Housing stability plans are created with each participant, and housing staff provides referrals and assistance in meeting the goals of the plan. Additionally, housing staff provides life skills trainings and assistance to help participants achieve the housing stability. Case managers utilize the full SPDA as well to create a baseline assessment and administer it again at annual assessment to evaluate progress towards stability. In addition to in-home services designed to assist the participants in obtaining and maintaining housing stability, an array of behavioral health services are available through Mountains Clinics should they decide to participate, of course. The services offered include psychiatry, licensed therapy, available in-home or via telehealth, counseling, also available in-home, therapeutic rehabilitation program, outpatient substance abuse treatment, and residential substance abuse treatment. Mountains housing staff is trained in SOAR, like we were saying, and can provide assistance to any client who needs to access SSDI or SSI benefits. Additionally, MCC makes referrals to Goodwill, Jubilee Jobs, Opportunities for Work and Learning, and local workforce innovation and Opportunity Act programs to assist participants with increasing employment and income. Because this is RH and therefore time limited, staff also encourages participants to engage with training programs such as those provided through WIOA to ensure they can secure ample income to maintain housing stability. So this program specifically is funded to provide assistance to 11 units, 5 one-bedrooms and 6 two-bedrooms. So our targeted number of people served was 17, and we ended up serving 24. The target for households served was 11, and we ended up serving 19. Our demographic breakdown, we served 12 whites, 12 black / African American, 23 non-Hispanic / non-Latino, and 1 Hispanic / Latino. And we had 17 males and 7 females. So down to our performance measures. Our targeted length of stay is 30 days, and our outcome is 66 days. In exits to permanent housing, the target was 90%, and our outcome is 29%. More specifically, I wrote that down in the ongoing evaluation and improvement. We had 2 rental by client, 1 deceased, 1 disappeared. She ended up leaving the state for an opportunity that she had. 1 went to live with a friend, 1 returned to placement for habitation. He chose not to engage with our program and our staff. And 1 rental project or halfway house. Returns to homelessness, the target was less than 5%. Our outcome is 50%, but if it makes it any better, it's only 1 of 2. We had 2 exits, and 1 was to the placement for habitation. For new increased earned income and for new increased non-employment income for stayers, the target is 15% and 30%, and our outcomes there are 0, but I wanted to note only 2 are included. 2 out of 9 stayers are included in that because we had a lot of new ones a couple months back, so a lot of them haven't been up for annual assessment yet, so we don't have a lot of that data. Hoping for it to be much better than 0, obviously. For new increased earned income and new increased non-employment income for leavers, the target is 20% and 40%, and our outcomes were 11% and 33%. For serve high needs / no income at entry, the target is greater or equal to 50%, and our outcome was 60%. For serve high needs entry from placement for human habitation, same target, and our outcome was 40%. And for serve high needs / have a disability, same target, our outcome was 75%, and coordinated entry participation was 100%. Target and outcome. Increasing income has been a challenge with participants in this program. We are employing SOAR for those who have a documented disability, like we've kind of discussed. There's generally a resistance among participants to participate in jobs such as Jubilee jobs and others. We continue to employ motivational interviewing techniques to support and encourage clients to participate in activities to gain training and skills so they can increase their income. Additionally, we are holding bi-weekly case conferencing meetings to review progress and apply a person-centered approach to providing services and guidance to participants, including life skills training. The goal is to help the participant gain the confidence they need to participate in the jobs programs. In an effort to decrease time homelessness, MCC has housing staff dedicated to making calls to landlords, kind of like Jackie was mentioning earlier, and meeting landlords to develop a database of those who are willing to take a voucher and or work with our program. Making personal connections with the landlords is a strategy we are invoking in hopes that if the landlord knows us and trusts us, they will be more willing to give our clients a chance. We have been able to cultivate a few new landlords, kind of like Jackie was saying, and we are also making an effort to identify landlords all over the city to give clients more choice in a place that they live. Additionally, our management team is working directly with case managers and staff to assist with problem solving and creating person-centered solutions for clients to better prepare them for maintaining their stability so that they can maintain their housing. And also, as Jackie said, she's been meeting with our quality improvement director to amend, continue our work on equity measures and things. That's all.
Okay, we'll open up for questions and comments.
I'll go ahead and make a comment. One thing that we're working on trying to develop for next year, unfortunately we just didn't have time to make sure that it was available for this packet. I think some examples from this data will be helpful to this group when we are able to give you a little bit of context for those that might not be a provider agency that's more intimately familiar with these measures and specifically how our reports work and how HUD is measuring our progress. So things like, for example, exits to permanent housing. So if they had somebody that passed away from the program, so that automatically removes that individual from the calculation, which means that yes, it's positive that it does not count as a negative outcome for that project. But also when we're talking about relatively small numbers of clients in a program, it also makes the overall denominator of that calculation lower. Christina, so you're shaking your head because you know. When we started the New Beginnings program, it was something like 10 individuals.
It's like one person.
And so literally sometimes one person can really skew your data. Another example I think is going to be around returns. That's a very specific measure by HUD. It means that that's a person who went through the program, exited to permanent housing specifically, and then returned within the 2-year period after that positive exit. So we're just working on putting together a cheat sheet or a walkthrough that will help give a little bit of additional clarity for folks that aren't as familiar with some of these measures, to make sure we continue to work on within this group, everyone within our continuum having a pretty strong and informed knowledge base around our outcomes, and we continue our commitment to being data driven. So I just wanted to make sure that we mention that because I think this is a clear illustration of how sometimes if you don't know how some of that works, also with income, HUD really allows us to look at income and measure for growth at 2 points. When a client meets their annual assessment or annual recertification, or when they exit the program. So sometimes, like if we're looking at the date range 11/1 to 10/31, what Mackenzie is letting us know is that she only had 2 clients that would have been due for an annual assessment during that period, meaning that 50% is the outcome when you only have 2 clients and only 1 increases their income. So again, we just really want to make sure that that's clear and transparent.
Thank you. And another thing that really impacts our program, and this is something that we've talked about like ad nauseum, I feel like sometimes, is that we're really serving people with high needs and disabilities. So like we've got 75% have a disability, and like we're working right now with someone who exited And we had them set up for a mainstream voucher, and like we had them pretty much set, and we were working on their SOAR and thought that was coming through. And I just found out through the grapevine through a landlord that they haven't paid their rent in 2 months. And then I found out that the voucher has been on hold and it's extended till January. So I'm scrambling, even though they're not in our program anymore, to try to keep them from going back into homelessness. But this is a person that we identified early on as someone who probably should have been PSH, but we could not get his VI SPDAT ever up there. And mainly, I guess, because it's self-report. But, and we decided, you know, instead of making him remain homeless, let's try to give him a chance, because he was like, I'll get a job, but then didn't. So we're working with him still, trying to, but that disability really does play into that. Anyone that we've got who is, if their disability was substance abuse in there, and not as much with mental illness, most of those have been able to get jobs and be able to do well and maintain on their own. So the mental illness does play a part.
It makes me think a little bit, I think it was Marissa, when you were doing your presentation on data last time, and it was like, was there anything that you really gleaned from it? And one of the things you said was people that scored at like 7, 8, or 9, like that was, they were a little bit in between. Like they didn't quite make the permanent housing, but they weren't quite here. And that would be a really interesting part for this group to kind of go, lots of focus needs to be in maybe in that space to a degree. It's a little what you were just saying. They didn't score enough to get the permanent, they needed the permanent, and so you're putting them in something that might not be enough for them.
Right. Like this person probably was on the high utilizer list at one point. So, I mean, but you can't, I mean, they scored and they were referred, and you can't, it's hard to say when there's nothing else available right now, you know, you can't make them stay homeless.
And I think Diane's point would be also something to kind of let us know where we're going. We are in the process of trying to develop a new local tool to replace the VI SPDAT. Obviously, a lot of communities have already moved away from it. A lot of communities are in a holding pattern of waiting and hoping that some other prepackaged tool comes down the pike. And we are just finding that we are continually putting Band-Aids on our assessment and on our process to try to mitigate that. So we're just going to go ahead and take that step. We're already having those conversations within our twice monthly coordinated entry meetings where we do case conferencing. When we have that draft prepared, it will go to our data and systems integration committee. So definitely providers, we would like you to come and participate in that conversation within our coordinated entry meetings. And for those of you who are not a part of that process, definitely look for that on the agenda for data and systems integration. This gives us an opportunity to think about what can we put on that tool that better helps assess, you know, where someone's true acuity falls and not be so married to the score on this particular assessment, but how can we really get to questions that we feel like really truly demonstrate the ability of someone to accurately convey their needs to us through self-report, and what opportunities can we put within that assessment tool for the assessor to have some input that also helps us to understand. We all know that we've had some clients who might not be aware of certain conditions or willing to disclose them, or that people are trying to answer our assessment in a way that they think will better improve the outcome for them. So we're also looking at how that assessor can have some input and how it's weighted in relation to self-report items.
Are there other communities or models you're looking at for a template?
We've looked at several. We have a drive that we've been keeping different examples and trying to, within those meetings, review when we have opportunities, any time that's not dedicated towards case conferencing, to pull those up and have some group discussion. We find that a mix of asking people to review individually, but also giving some opportunities for folks that maybe can't carve out that time. We obviously know that Louisville's already taken the step and have a copy from our HMIS system of what they're collecting. I want to say it was maybe Phoenix. There's a couple other communities specifically that we are looking at. And then we're also looking at just more general information that's out there. There's a couple of good literature reviews of different assessment tools. And so really the ideal is pick the things that we like across different sources and try to steer away from thinking that there's just going to be one prepackaged tool that not only works well, but specifically works well within our community and what we're seeing in our population. But yeah, if you have any thoughts, you're more than welcome to contribute.
Yeah, I mean, Passport weighed in some on Louisville's tool, and we've seen that they are really focusing in a little bit more on behavioral health and physical health needs. Do people have medications that need to be refrigerated and they can't do that on the street? So some of those things that you were discussing, and they are being prioritized now, and it's feeling good. I still don't think there's ever one perfect tool. But yeah, it's been really nice to see that.
That's good feedback to have, to know that it's making a positive impact for your community, because yeah, we do want to make sure that we do the best job that we can, but like you said, no tool's going to be perfect, so let's just see what we can do to make it the best starting point.
Yes, agreed.
Other questions or comments for this presentation? Okay, thank you. Back to the top of our agenda, we have the 2024 evaluation schedule in our packet. It is on page 6 of the packet. Does anybody have any questions or comments about the schedule?
Definitely going to invite you to check and make sure your program would be here, and make sure that I didn't overlook something, or if your program has ended and should no longer be on the calendar, making sure that we caught that as well. So as a reminder, this process should be for any provider that receives LFUCG funding towards housing and services, specifically for those experiencing homelessness. So if you fall in that category, make sure that your programs are included. And to the extent possible, we try to time things to where it would fall close to the end date of your grant term, so that we're really able to kind of align that with what your actual performance reports would look like to HUD or other funders. Sometimes just because of the number of programs that we have with an end date on one period, we have to bump somebody before or after.
Oh. I see one you can remove, Jeff.
What's that?
Tip is on here.
Is it still on there? It is. Thank you. See, that's why I need this process.
Any others? Or any questions?
I can't believe I saw it. I'm the worst proofreader ever.
We will need to take a vote to approve this. So if there are no other changes, I would take a motion for approval.
I move approval of the 2024 evaluation schedule.
And a second.
I'll second that.
And all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Okay, that passes, and then we can make amendments if anything else comes up.
Yeah, and I'll go ahead and just mention, because of everything that we have on our plate, it is difficult for us to always send out reminders. So what I plan to do is not to be overly burdensome or structured, but We are going to send out Outlook invites now that we've approved the calendar. You'll receive for each program 2 invites unless they fall on the same date, and then I'll try to just combine it. But one will remind you of when we are asking for your materials to be provided to us. We, of course, have to send out our meeting packets a week in advance per our governance charter, but also we hope to have a day or 2 in there for us to actually internally look at it, spot check, make sure we don't see anything that we want to come back and ask you to review before it goes out to the group. And then we'll give you another Outlook invite for the actual date of your presentation.
And then just keeping in mind that for any data help that people might need, then you want it a week prior to when they have to turn it in, correct?
Yeah, so we would send our information out on the Wednesday prior to the meeting. In the guidelines that we approved last year, we requested that those materials be provided to us by the end of the Monday prior. So giving us roughly a full calendar day to review that. And sometimes it was happening, sometimes it wasn't, and I appreciate everybody who's really proactive and getting that information to us, but this will just keep it from any of us, either the provider or this office, having to continually go back to the calendar and send out those reminders or that information.
Okay, then next on our agenda are any public comments. So does anybody have anything they would like to share with the group? Yes.
I can share something. If you were unable to attend our LexCount meeting that happened earlier today and you are interested in donating some materials, please come and see me. I will be sending out an email of items that we are still in need of for those care packages. But since you're here, if you were already planning on donating, please come and see me. That way I don't have to reach out to you specifically via email. Thank you.
Do you have one or two things in mind that you know are great?
Yeah, so some items that we are still in need of: plenty of hats, plenty of scarves, hot hands, at least about 150, deodorant, some instant coffee and collapsible cups, as well as small portable flashlights. Those 3 items are items that we are adding from that were not on our list last year, but our committee discussed would be helpful. So,
thank you. Any other comments people would like to share?
That list.
Yeah.
Because I have some people in the community that want to donate.
Yeah,
So
that'd be
I'll
great.
just send that to them.
Perfect.
I'll make 2 quick comments. One, I do not feel like Caitlin and Sherry did fair justice to Sherry in her introduction earlier, so I just want to say, one, we at LFUCG have been really, really pleased to have a housing advocate on our team. It's been a tremendously successful program and position for us, so we recently added a second. They are still going to maintain the point of contact number that most of you are aware of, the 859-280-8425 number. And they will both be answering and screening and returning those calls. They'll have individual office numbers, but it's best to direct people to that one centralized number. And Sherry comes to us from Community and Resident Services, which is still within our departmental team. We're happy to have her on this side of things, and definitely want to make sure that our housing advocates get their due because they do amazing work. The other thing related to staffing is that my office has completed a round of interviews for our HMIS data analyst position and made a recommendation to HR. So just waiting on that process to follow through, and hopefully the candidate we've selected will accept the offer and be with us as we enter the new year or shortly thereafter. So.
What was that phone number again?
859-280-8425, and that will get you to Caitlin and Sherry.
And your title is, your department is?
Housing advocates.
Housing advocates, cool.
So they would kind of be a point of contact that can help people deal with a variety of issues and provide some guidance. It's not going to be like intensive in-home case management, but they can do stuff like if someone's experiencing potential eviction, maybe give some information around resources in the community. If someone has gotten notice that their unit's been condemned, making sure they know supports available through our Community and Resident Services office. maybe helping give some information towards leads on landlords and units. So some very helpful information when people kind of have a barrier to housing that we need to connect them with some kind of support.
Cool. Yeah, it's a little bit like what I'm doing with Independence Place, so.
Any other public comments? Okay. Our next meeting is February 21st at 1:30 to 3. Our location is moving for next year, so we're starting at East Side Branch Library, but that's where we are for all of our meetings, right?
Yes, we're going to be there for each meeting of the committee.
Yeah. So we'll be at East Side Library for next year, so look out for that and mark your calendars.
Which library is that?
East Side Branch.
Where is that, Richmond?
So that's the one that's going to be out closer towards like the Hamburg area.
That's where I live. That's
Richmond, Maryland, right there.
Okay, yeah. Okay, great. Yeah, I like that.
I know a lot of folks like North Side. Unfortunately, apparently so does everyone else in the community because they get booked up very far in advance, and they were going to have tax prep going on for like the first half of the year. We wanted somewhere that we would hopefully have the ability to meet each time.
So all of the committee, like different committees, or
So
just this one?
I'm going to send out the updated full calendar. So board meetings, there are 2 that are in council chambers, but everything else will remain 3rd floor conference room, Phoenix building. And then our advocacy is going to be here at the Don Ball Campus Center. Program performance and data and systems integration are both going to be for all meeting dates at the East Side branch.
I was about to get really excited if everything was over there.
Unfortunately, no, but they were able to accommodate 2 committees.
Okay, since there is nothing else on our agenda, as chair, I will adjourn us. Thank you, everyone.